Generative AI is promising a massive $7 trillion boost to the global economy. It's a staggering number. But there's a catch, a really big one. Do we actually have the people with the right skills to make it happen? Well, that's the trillion-dollar question we're diving into, all based on a fascinating new report from the World Economic Forum. So we're at this massive turning point, right? And this report, it makes one thing absolutely crystal clear. AI isn't just another cool piece of tech. Nope. It's a force that is actively redesigning our industries, our economies, and what it even means to have a job. Just take a second and let that number sink in. $7 trillion. That's the potential value that generative AI could pump into the global economy in just the next decade. We're not just talking about a little growth here. We're talking about a complete revolution in how we create value. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. All that amazing potential, it's locked behind one huge barrier that could stop this whole revolution dead in its tracks. A massive and growing global skills gap. So this is the heart of the problem, right? We've got this huge chasm opening up. On one side, you have companies that are desperate for people with advanced digital skills to use all this new AI. And on the other side, well, you have the rest of the workforce, which is really struggling to keep up. And the speed of this change, it is just staggering. The data shows that the demand for AI and machine learning jobs has exploded. We're talking nearly 14 times bigger in just 6 years. That isn't just growth. That's like a sonic boom hitting the job market. But here's the thing. For all that incredible demand, we get this huge reality check from business leaders. They have shockingly little faith in our current education systems. Only 2 out of every 10 believe that we're actually preparing people with the AI and data skills that are needed right now. That's a huge disconnect. And this shortage, well, it comes with a pretty hefty price tag. It's just basic supply and demand, really. Demand for these skills is through the roof, but the supply of talent is lagging way behind. The result? The median salary for AI roles has shot up by 27% to almost $190,000. Now, individuals are definitely getting the message. They're racing to learn new skills. You can see here that learning about AI and big data makes up more than a fifth of all digital learning online. But while people are sprinting to catch up, our larger education systems are barely at the starting line. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. We have an explosive demand, a crisis of confidence in the supply, and the economic pressure is already built. Okay, so what kind of skills are we even talking about here? Well, the big idea to wrap your head around is this. AI isn't really about replacing jobs entirely, it's about fundamentally transforming them. Essentially, the report is saying there's a new must-have skill for pretty much everyone, being fluent in the language of technology. And this isn't just for software developers anymore, it's quickly becoming a basic requirement for almost every single job out there. This is a really important point from the report. Generative AI isn't about wiping our skills off the map. It's more like giving them a turbo boost. It's fundamentally changing how we use the skills we already have, augmenting them and making them more powerful. And when you dig into the data, you see this really fascinating split. A whopping 68% of digital skills are expected to be transformed by AI. Now, compare that to just 35% for human-centric skills, like empathy or teamwork. This tells us we need to invest in 2 things at once, deep technical skills and also the uniquely human skills that AI just can't touch. And listen, getting these skills, it's a real commitment. It's not something you can just pick up in an afternoon. You might be able to get the basics of AI in about 30 hours, but to get to an advanced level, you're looking at over 130 hours. And for something complex like cybersecurity, it could take more than 150 hours. There really are no shortcuts here. So with a challenge this big, you might be asking, okay, so what do we do? Well, the good news is the report doesn't just point out the problem. It lays out a really clear 3-part blueprint for how we can bridge this gap. First up, assessment. It all starts with really understanding what skills people already have. And that means we have to look past the old school resume to see what a person can actually do. So how do you do that? Well, it's about getting a full 360-degree picture. It means evaluating skills with real-world tasks, not just standardized tests. And this is key. You've got to track how someone thinks and solves a problem, not just whether they got the final answer right. All right, pillar number 2 is development. Once you know where the gaps are, you have to create the right environment for these new skills to actually grow. It's all about building effective learning experiences. And that means, first, making these skills a priority in all kinds of learning. Then, you need to create these safe sandboxes where people can practice, get feedback, and even fail without real-world consequences. And finally, you have to focus on hands-on projects that solve real problems. And that brings us to the last piece of the puzzle, credentialing. You see, it's not enough to just have a skill. We need modern, trusted ways to prove that expertise, so people can take it with them from job to job. What we're talking about here is a big shift away from just traditional degrees. Instead, imagine a system with shared global standards, where you prove what you know through a portfolio of actual work. Think of it like getting specific modular badges that show what you can do, not just what you've studied in a classroom. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? Assess, develop, credential. But the best part is, it's not just theory. It's already happening out in the real world. Let's look at how some top companies are already putting this into practice. Take a look at a massive firm like EY. They've already awarded over 100,000 AI badges to their employees. And these aren't just little thanks for showing up awards. No, these are credentials people earned by actually applying AI skills to real projects. This is that development and credentialing framework we just talked about, but rolled out on a huge global scale. Here's another cool example from Checkpoint. They use these virtual cyber ranges. The best way to think about it is like a flight simulator, but for cyber attacks. They put their experts in these incredibly realistic, high-pressure simulations to see how they react. It's a perfect example of tracking the thinking process, not just the final outcome. It measures how people make critical decisions when everything is on the line. So, at the end of the day, it really boils down to this. The technology is here. That $7 trillion opportunity is very real. The only variable left is our commitment to investing in the most important part of this whole equation, our people. So I'll leave you with this question. How are you going to invest in the human skills to unlock this future?